Hey, 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 it's Monday. Guess what time it is? I have something to say featuring Laura Messner. Say hello.
Hello, guys. And also, just a heads up for those of you joining in, we are not having any of the comments up. So even though your comments aren't going to be popping up or anything like that, it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate them and that we don't appreciate you guys being on and watching. So we're just going to have our own time together and sit back and relax and hopefully give you guys some new awarenesses or some clarities to your life that you can incorporate into your own.
We'll certainly say hi to Susan and Jerry and all the people that joined us, but the subject of today is really important. We share something in common and a lot in common, but I have been on a journey to simplify my life, but I have failed in my response to that journey. I haven't taken enough action yet. It's only then the last year that I started taking action to simplify my life. So we're going to talk about that. It's not so easy.
No, certainly is not. So what we did today is we created a way in which we can process it in an easy to follow way. What Paul likes to do is he likes to create webs.
I do.
And he did a great job doing that with me today. So we made it all colorful and all that. We'll take a picture and share more of that with you guys after from a visual standpoint.
Right.
But what we're going to do right now is we're just going to go over and we're going to talk about it and how we plan to simplify our lives, and in hope that you can relate it then back to yours and create that more simplistic lifestyle for yourself.
Exactly. What we're going to do is let you in on the therapy that we've been doing with each other. And a lot of therapy is going on in the house. So why don't you run through that acronym?
The acronym we created is for the word simple, and the S stands for simplify. I think that's pretty
simplify.
Obvious. And then the I in simple stands for invest in yourself.
In yourself. In me. You. Invest in yourself.
And why is that important, do you think?
Well, I believe when I look at my case, I was trying to please other people so much that I just got caught up in the more trap. More. So we'll talk about that.
Yes, we will.
Brings me to the M in simple.
Minimize.
Talk about
pretty
that.
Self-explanatory right there, because the problem is when you're in the mindset of more, we have an abundance of too much. There is a thing called too much.
Too much stuff.
Too much stuff. And I mean,
too much stuff. They wrote a great song about that. Delbert McClinton sang a song called Too Much Stuff.
And I think minimizing is not just stuff. Sometimes minimizing can be the thought process of what we're going through, what we're thinking of, what we're manifesting within ourselves. So minimizing that type of mentality is also just as important.
Probably comes first, to be honest with you.
Everything starts in here.
Starts.
I agree.
It does. And when you have this goal to simplify everything, and you want to invest in yourself, and you want to minimize, you have to have a really well-defined plan. The P is plan of action that you can actually execute and stick to. So many people make plans.
We were talking about that.
And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that for a week.
I feel like you're calling me out right now.
Well, no.
It's fine. It's all right. I can handle it. I can handle it. I know I'm not the only one. So, we're all working on our individual things. So
we are.
I'm working on my plan of action and my consistency in doing that.
You're just one routine away from having that be a reality in your life. just routine, routine, routine. How about the L?
So the L in simple stands for live your values every day. So what's important to you?
Yes.
And how are you going to incorporate that into your life to make your goals your reality?
You know, when you don't live your values, you live out of accordance with your values. It's based on a lack of understanding about what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't clarified, so you have to live your values every day. And that brings us to the E, entheos. Enthusiasm is the Greek word of entheos. Enthusiasm is spirit within God-like. If you have an entheos about you, and you spread your joy to other people, if you have lived freely and you spread that entheos everywhere, it makes for a much simpler, better life, in my opinion.
And I didn't even know that prior to today, so I actually loved that. So the E is very, very important. And I was very excited to hear what it actually meant besides enthusiasm.
You know, my mom made me a sign that said, spread entheos everywhere you go. And I didn't know what that was. She said to me, when your enthusiasm is beating in your chest and it's real, mm-hmm. It's not so difficult to share. Enthusiasm is an inside gift with an outside reflection.
Yeah.
That was some wise things from my mom. So where do we start?
Well, from the web, we figured that the starting point is zoning in and lasering in on what do you really want mm-hmm. in life? Because there's a lot of things that we can focus on, like the more.
Yep.
And that's a different focus. But is that what you really want? And it comes down to an honesty with yourself.
Oh, yeah. The key word is really want. You know, I was very successful in my previous life. And I like my new life better, by the way. Much more less cumbersome, and I'm getting there every day. But I just got caught up in the more trap. You know, what I really wanted was to be thought of as successful, mm-hmm. thought of as one of the top speakers in the world. So that led me, well, to be a top speaker in the world, I have to expand to a global business. So Canada, well, I need a home in Canada. So I bought a home in Canada. I went to England. Oh, I need a home in England. So I bought a home in England. Oh, I need a home in Dublin. So everywhere I went.
Yeah.
And I was caught in the trap of being a prisoner to my own stuff. And when I had my stroke and the income was gone, I found out how stupid that was. So we all make mistakes. So have you determined what you really want?
What I really want? I want a simple life as well, but I want a life in which which will lead into the next thing coming up. But I want to live the life that God calls me to.
Mm. You know, anything that distracts you from that is not a good thing.
No, it's not.
And I was distracted from living that intentional life, but because I had to take care of all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit it, I was a prisoner of my own purposeful intention. And that's hard to say.
Right.
But the effect was it became an adrenaline rush for me, more and more and more. How much could I acquire, buy? And I thought it was making my life better because I was doing more stuff for my kids. Stuff. So I had to get through that. So when you ask, what do you really want, is one predominant reason that you ask what that question is to find your purpose in life.
Right. And it's kind of similar to his story on my side, and you can all relate this to your own personal story. But for me, growing up, and I got into the modeling industry, and my purpose then, like internally, wanted to be liked by everyone. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be this next Britney Spears. So instead of chasing the love for myself, for finding my own true purpose of where I wanted to go, instead I was filling that void inside that said I wasn't enough, that I need to be more, by searching for others' approval of me, others' accolades towards me. And I traveled all over the US as well, and just going from workshop to workshop to modeling gig to modeling gig. And I got fed what I needed at that time. Like you got fed your material things. I got fed you're so beautiful, you're so talented, like, wow, you're just absolutely amazing. And even though it felt nice, the problem was when I sat within myself at home, I would have mental breakdowns.
Empty.
Very empty, very empty. Just did not create those strong, intimate relationships, the one that actually means something, instead of just continuing to seek to fill that void.
To be honest with you, I had relationships all over the world when I had my stroke. A half dozen clients called. Was it. And I realized that they were using me, paying me well, but using me for what I could bring them. When I was no longer able to bring it, they found another resource, and they should. But I had built this thing in my mind. I have relationships all over the world, and I didn't. Yeah. And that's just hard to accept. If you have to get down by yourself and ask the tough questions by yourself and look in the mirror, not look out the window and blame everybody else. Yeah. I have met the enemy. It is me. Mm-hmm. I did this to myself.
Absolutely. We do it to ourselves all the time.
What was when you said you felt empty, what did that lead to?
To keep doing what I've been doing, because there becomes a comfort, even though I was very lost, very negative towards myself. There grew within the habit a comfort of that misery and that negative mindset when I was by myself. Because what was working for me, I was becoming financially stable because I would go up and do these gigs and all that, and it worked. But the fear of the unknown was 10 times stronger than my fear of wanting to get out of that misery. And that's why I stayed there, and I stayed there for years. Mm-hmm.
You have been known to say it's about love. Talk about that for you.
My saying is nothing but love. Because with love, if you show up for yourself with love, that is probably one of the most important things that you can do. Because at that point, when you are showing up with genuine, authentic love, it doesn't matter how other people perceive what you're trying to say or what you're trying to do. Because if in your heart, you know what you're doing or what you're saying is not being said with bad intention or in a way to try to manipulate or sway or anything like that, and truly and genuinely for the love of the other person or to express the love for yourself, That is so important. If you have that, it doesn't matter. I've had to teach this to myself consistently, and I'm getting to that point where I can use that tool that I've developed in order to give myself the calm and the peace that I know I deserve, because I in my heart feel like I am a good person. And through that, if other people don't see it, that's okay. That is okay. And if they want to come to me and really break it down and digest it and investigate really the pieces of it so they better understand where I'm coming from, then praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. And that's a big move on that other person's part, because most of the time what happens is that other person will sit back, and they'll sit back in assumption to what you meant by what you said. And it could be something very negative that you did not mean for them to feel. And that your intention was not that they would feel that way towards what you said. So it's very important for each person to have a knowing and a trust of what the other is saying. And with that, you create one stronger relationship. And you know that the other person is not out to get you.
People get paranoid and they think everybody's out to get them. And I
know you've had to struggle with that.
Yes.
I'm just talking about that and all we all have experienced burns, right?
Yes, we are. We have. So when you when we finally got to meet, how long did it take you to hear this word? I want 2 t-shirts, 2 shorts, 2 sandals, and Spain. That was a metaphor, Spain. Anywhere that I could have a simpler life. 2 t-shirts, so tell them about the things you sing. All my clothes. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I think I swore more times walking through his homes than I've ever had in one sitting or one setting. It is just above and beyond. Very, 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 very much too much. is just the only way to describe it. Like clothes that are set, same clothes in every single home that he has. And yes, is it great to go wherever and have that available to you? But that
makes it easy on the packing.
But that at the time was
more,
for instance, Paul's way of distracting. Just like you guys, I know, have your own ways of distracting. Mine for a long time was food. If I didn't want to go do something because I just was uncomfortable or lazy or whatever, then I would turn to food and just be distracted and just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat until I was so mad at myself that I would distract myself more by going to the gym and working out for hours. So really, I'm only hurting myself because now all my goals are being pushed to the wayside because I'm too busy with my distractions.
Yep. And I'm saying this to all of you because I don't want you to get caught in the more trap. For me, it was just a way. Do you love me? If I buy you more stuff, will you love me more? And that was a horrible way to approach life with my employees, with everybody. And I can remember buying a person that worked for me. He was my ground maintenance person, a new Harley, just because. And what I should have done is set him up with a bonus that he could earn that would provide him more things that he could take the decision of for his own stock. But I just wanted to feel good about me. It was not about him. It was about me. And I'm revealing a lot today. Oh my God.
I'm so proud of you.
So we're working on this simplification of my life and his life. her life.
I was like,
so I'm sorry.
I can be manly sometimes. I'm
Stop.
okay with it.
Aphasia.
I know.
Binary disease. She's a he. No, she's not. That's funny. So what do you get through going through this process and finding your purpose in life? And what do you get as a result?
Well, we have the other one, the other bubble, which is it informs you of your choices.
Yes, no.
Yeah. So really it creates a sense of clarity for us, which then removes the fog of, well, I want to stay comfortable. I want to stay where I'm at. I don't want to do the things I say I want to do. And
come back.
And instead we remove that fog, and then we're now able to see, okay, do I want to binge eat? Like back when I had a huge eating disorder, do I want to binge eat 3 days worth of food in one sitting to escape?
You keep talking. I'm going to grab my coffee.
You can.
I forgot.
Or do I see that as a way of escaping? And am I going to instead maybe choose a healthy snack or eat, between a couple hours in the day, every few hours, and then I keep that fullness and have a glass of water with each meal. So really, it's creating where you're getting in your own way, and how can I choose which choice is the healthier choice. And we're able to then, instead of just keeping the tunnel vision on away from your goals, you're now like, I'm going to take this bag off my head and I'm going to go towards my goals instead.
Can I give a simple analogy? When we built Whoople, it was important that we not get in a competition with anybody else. So we came up safe, simple, affordable, fun, and efficient. We make education safe. So anything that distracted, if you want to be, it's called feature creep. If you want to build something complicated, we said no. It would make it less affordable. We said no. It would make it no fun. We said no. Not efficient. We said no. So it clarified our choices. Anything that we wanted to build had to fit in simple, affordable, fun, and efficient. So I did it for Whoople, but I didn't do it for myself. And I just thought of that. I said, man, it was so simple. We built a simple process. Why? Because we had that as a goal. We wanted to make it affordable to all. We wanted to make it fun, and we wanted to make it efficient. If somebody came to us with something that didn't fit in that clarified choices, we said no. If they did, we said yes. Any way that informed me of what I needed to say yes or no to. And I believe it's more important. Your no's have a lot to do with your success and your happiness. It's what you say no to more than what you say yes to.
I agree. Yes will lead you to a lot of responsibilities. And many times, if you are a yes person, those responsibilities build up to a point where you just can no longer balance it all.
Well, the real problem is when you try to get a simplified life and you have all this clutter around you, that your normal way of doing business, you have to break that habit. If you don't, it's going to resurface. It's lurking below the surface all the time. Just give it a minute, it will come back. So I I counseled with a bunch of friends, not friends, but clients that had opioid addiction over the years. And I said to them, if they didn't replace that with something healthy, it was going to resurface. The minute it came too much stress, you go into the old habits. I still, man, okay. Okay, I still have to be careful when I go into a store or Home Depot or anything. Oh, I can use that. I don't need a thing. No, I don't. I need to sell something, not need something.
It's like the people that have an addiction to
I'm
online shopping.
telling you,
Online
crazy.
shopping.
Take my credit cards away.
And then they jack up tons of credit card debt, and then they don't even end up using it. I have to do that to myself. It's like, do I really want this shirt? Am I really gonna wear it? Because sometimes I'll buy shirts and then I'll never wear them. And so it's like, was that really worth it, or was it just to fill that void of that need to distract and get something?
What would be funny if you keep talking, I will go get all my t-shirts out of my closet. I will not be throwing on you before the end of the show.
For real.
It's just crazy.
It's crazy.
You can only wear one. Well, you can wear 2 t-shirts, but not 20 t-shirts at the same time. So
there's just so many to choose from.
Oh, stop it.
There is.
I know. Yeah.
But see, the thing is, and this is the thing too, is not to beat yourself up for the choices that you've made in the past. Because if you do that, you're again putting into distraction and you're not pursuing the goal again. So when it comes to, let's just say the t-shirts, it's not to say, okay, I can't believe that was who I was. I have a bunch of t-shirts and a bunch of clothes in homes that I don't even visit all the time.
Yep.
Like, who am I? Because it's not about who you were. It's about who you are today and what you're doing to take those action steps to get to that life that you want.
Exactly.
And those who want to judge, I mean, that's on them. Because you know you're doing something good for you and something good for your life. And if people want to judge you based on your past, if I let people judge me and have that affect me for those who viewed me in my modeling days, then I wouldn't want to get up and do anything, because I'd be like, oh my gosh, everybody hates me. They just think I'm a, whatever, come up with any word, really.
Michelle just said, I think you're in need of a garage sale. More than that.
Way more than a garage sale.
And but I appreciate the point. But I believe that when we get caught up in this trap, this rut, it's self-imposed. And I call it the SIP, self-imposed and process. So I have to look in the mirror and say, enough. Did you ever come to the conclusion that was enough? I did. I just searching for now taking action on simplifying my life. But when was that moment that you said enough is enough?
Oh, really? There's so many, like, enough is enough aha moments, but also another reality is that we're not perfect. We're not perfect beings. So there were a lot of times where I would just dive back into it. And I would get more involved. And that's where it gets you in trouble. But at the same time, why I always just talk about awareness of self, and that is your best gift. Because when you stay aware, when we start trying to ignore those things about ourselves, that's when we get in trouble. And that's when the cycle starts again and again.
Yeah.
So even though I may have messed up time and time and time again, I was like, okay, I'm not going to numb out to this to escape from the knowing. I'm going to recognize. I'm going to tell myself, basically, I like to write on paper as well. I know you do as well, and remind myself of all the things that I want and why all these things that I'm doing is not leading me to what I want. And with that awareness, even though I'm sometimes the bad side of me won, but that awareness is not letting the bad side take the title for the rest of my life.
Exactly. I ran from the reality of my own life.
So can you go in a little bit more detail on
Well,
that?
my mom told me for years, son, you're going to give till you give out. I ran from the reality of that fact. I said, Mom, I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that I was driving away, not having it.
Yeah.
So I ran from the reality. I'll just do another speech. Didn't, and I was great at channeling my focus.
Mm-hmm.
I was great at walking into a room and saying that the most fault in person in this room is me, and I'm not scared to share it. That was my strength.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was seeking love, adoration in all the wrong places. And I ran so hard to get to that, I trampled over everything in my life trying to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you stuck with your strong suit and you did what you knew.
Yep.
But the thing is when you do what you know,
this is public therapy, by the way.
It's great, right? But when you do what you know, and yet you're looking for something different. So say you were looking for love, but you were still doing all the things that didn't bring you love and fulfillment.
Yep.
I mean, what's the thing if you do the same thing over and over again? That's the definition of insanity.
Yes, it is, and I can stand by that as truth. Truth. Say that word. Truth. Thank you. Aphasia moment. So it forms my choices. It provides me certainty. An interesting exercise I did one day, and I haven't mentioned this to you. I said, simplify, and made a list of everything that I would have said no to if that was my approach. Feel like a journal up. And I said, oh my God, so many choices I would have made differently. Mm-hmm. But I was really glad I did that because it helped me to clarify. For instance, I was walking around Gulfport and I came upon this home that was for sale. Like I need another home. and I went inside to the open house and I said, man, this is undervalued. And it just hit me. Are you crazy? Are you serious? Run. So I ran out of the house. I probably scared the realtor to death because I was about to fall in that trap again. That's how I got this house, was walking by an open house with Chris 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. So I have to change my routine, change my habit, change my pretty much everything to inform my choices to live in accordance with my values and have the certainty and the sense of direction that I'm right about simplifying my life. Mm-hmm. So how does it inform your choices today? If you look at your previous life and your new life, how does it inform your choices? How does it provide you sense of direction?
Well, for me, I mean, I definitely grown a stronger relationship with God in between that time. And so I noticed the further away I get from God, the more I fall into, my old habits. And so the thing is that God will humble me real quick, real quick. Yep. And it's funny sometimes how he does it, but certain books that I like to read too are The Power of Habit. I don't know if you've read that book.
I did.
But it's similar.
Charles Duhigg, read it over and over and over again. Best book on habits I've ever read.
It really is, though, because it shows you. I love just the different examples that he shows in the book, and things like when you were saying you'd walk into an open house and that's danger zone. Trigger, danger. I'm gonna buy it. This is not good. I'm gonna walk out of this real quick. So people who have like gambling issues.
Yep.
And basically, when they see big casino things, they immediately get that trigger and that desire to go in and to win.
That's why they have no clocks in casinos.
Mm-hmm.
No clocks at all. And they study what fragrance makes people spend money. They did a study on that, and they pumped that through the air filters in casinos.
And they find the spender people that consistently put down big bucks, and they attract them by saying, we'll give you a free room.
Free everything.
In Las Vegas, we'll give you $100,000 to play in the games. And you know what? Then let's say they then lose $250,000.
Right.
And that's how they get you. And this is what the sinful nature leads you to. Is just, it doesn't get better, it gets worse.
Well, the age-old dichotomy is that pain, pleasure. Sometimes when you get pleasure, you create pain for a temporal thing.
That's it. It's the instant gratification, that temporary healing, which feels good.
I'll feel better if I spend money.
Yes. Or I'll feel better if I go here and have people give me that love and affection that I feel I need right now. When instead it could be, how am I not contributing to my own love and affection towards myself? Like I've said before, I think the foundation of us as humans are self-validation, self-love, self-acceptance, and self-appreciation. And when we start looking for other people to build that foundation for us, it's only a matter of time before our foundation is crumbling.
That's a train wreck.
It's a train wreck.
Heading towards you. I have it. I can say with all clarity, I did it to myself, but I was seeking the admiration of others. You know, I had a good friend that was very wealthy. He drove an old car. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, Paul, no matter how you attempt to buy a better car, somebody will always pull up to you in a nicer car. You can't out-car people. So why bother? He drove an old car, old pickup truck, had more money than dirt, and there's a lot of dirt in the world, and he just lived a very simple life. And it's amazing how much I learned and how much I didn't learn and didn't listen, because my mom told me, you're going to give till you give out. Stop. You've done enough. Take care of yourself. It's time for you to start living. Time for you to go fishing. Time for you to paint. I took time for everybody else.
So then let me ask you the question then, why didn't you listen to your mom? Why didn't you do those things for yourself?
I don't know. Truth be told, because I listened to her about everything else but that.
See,
so you asked me that question. No.
You just haven't looked inside of yourself to find the answer.
When I say I don't know, that's only answering the question. I didn't know what she taught me so much other stuff that I listened to. I don't know why I didn't listen to that, but I do know why I should have listened. I do know now that I would have saved myself a lot more of heartache if I had listened.
But knowing now what you know about yourself and reflecting on that in that moment, and from your perspective today, looking back, why do you think you didn't listen to
I
her?
was on a binge need of love and adoration and being thought successful. The more I acquire, the more people will love me. The more I build, the more people will love me. I know exactly why I got caught in that trap. Yes, I do.
So do you think it was the foundation piece that you were looking for everyone else to give you?
Yes.
That love,
Yes.
that affection?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I was, I started my company with a $75 brochure with a bunch of misspelled words and, a bucket of sweat behind me. And I couldn't be stopped. That's what I believed. I just had to go get it.
Were you trying to prove something, you think?
I just wanted to be the best. I don't know.
That's a proof. I
Probably.
want to prove to be the best out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to prove to be the best, version of Britney Spears. That's what my goal was.
Well, we went to conventions all over the world. We would have a meeting and say, we're going to rock in this convention center and everybody is going to get out of our way. We are the level 10 men and women. We're here to crush the competition, leave him waking in our midst, pound and dominate the convention. We had a cheer that we said, we're coming, we're coming. We're coming to see you, level 10. And I'm telling you, people parted. It was crazy.
Well, you certainly made a point. That's
We
for
did.
Sure.
We did. We just competitive. And I don't think, I think that was good, but I think it spilled over into other areas of my life that were not good. I think it's time to reveal something. I'm sweating with all this therapy. I'm just picking. So what about taking action?
It's the big movement. I know you're looking at me because I need that too. But action is about routine. It's about goals and setting them and having that track made that you can run on.
Yep.
Because when we don't have that, you're going to be walking through the woods because everything looks the same. So you're like, maybe this tree is the one I need to go towards first, and then maybe this one, and oh, this bush is new. I haven't seen this one in a while. Or oh, that squirrel is different. So when you're stuck in the middle of the woods with no path or no track to run on, It makes it impossible. Not impossible, I shouldn't say that, but it makes it very, very difficult to find where you need to go.
It's difficult, but not impossible.
Right.
I believe if you blindfold yourself in the woods and you walk into the woods, you're going to bump into a lot of trees. You're going to fall over brush. You need to take the blindfold off. What do you really want in life? Maybe you don't want to be in the woods. Yeah. Maybe you want to be at the beach. But you have to get clarity and certainty and creativity about what you want. And then I think for me, when I was searching for something that I couldn't find, I just tried to buy it, like another house, nicer car. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I had given more money away than people know, and to charity, and started Tech Town, start, my son can tell you that we closed our company down for 3 weeks to give a tornado struck in Ringgold, Georgia, Black Rock, Alabama. We just closed the company down and took care of people. And we serve so many meals, about 20,000 meals. We just employed churches to help us, and we had so much joy doing that. It was fulfilling, but at the same time, I had 2 purposes. I made money to give money away, and I made money to buy things. And that dichotomy got me caught in a loop.
Right.
And I just couldn't find my way out of that loop. Although my mom said, here's the exit ramp. Take a left, take a left. I took a right or continued straight.
But I think it's a pretty amazing thing. I want to point out, and I'm thankful that you're willing to share this, because I know it's a difficult thing, because
it is.
People assume that you have everything together, that everything is handed to you in a sense, and that you can just do this, that, and the other, when in reality, you're just like any one of us. You're just a human being that has found his way. And you know what? God doesn't put things in our life for no reason. You went through a stroke to put you in this position that you are in right now, to see and to create that clarity that you want simple.
I want simple. And I'm going to tell you, I laughingly said, if you want to walk in my shoes, go do the work I did, because I started out poor, hungry, and driven. That was my PhD, poor, hungry, and driven. And I was a graduate of Screw You University. Tender by fire. But the fact of the reality, I got caught up in my own press clippings. And I am really glad that I lived. I'm really glad that God had a purpose for my life, and I am on a mission to simplify everything. That's the first thing I told you when you got off the plane. 2 pair of t-shirts, 2 shorts, 2 pair of sandals, Spain. Spain being a metaphor. And I want to live a very simple life and provide. All my focus needs to be on helping other people have this simple approach to life. I just want to teach people that has lost their voice to talk again. You got to be around when I was doing 2 speech therapy sessions. It's very fulfilling. More fulfilling than teaching a billionaire businessman how to get 1 more billion. Much more fulfilling to teach that way, and teach people have to have hope, and recovery is possible. So if I had to ask you, I will answer the same question. What's your moving forward plan, having been, we have these wonderful conversations, like we talk nonstop,
and
from morning to night.
An 8+ hour drive to discuss and bring up some really serious and tough conversations. And I think that's the blessing of having 2 people, or just anybody, any friend, any person in your life that is going to be able to call you out, and not call you out to control, but call you out of love, to show you the mirror that you put down for a while. And that's hard. That's hard to actually be like, no, like I cried today. I cried today because I got put up the mirror. And, and I know that Paul was not bringing up certain subjects to make me feel bad, to say this, that, the other. He did it because he sees the potential in me, and I know he loves and cares about me. And so with that trust, I was able to pull up that mirror that he handed me and be like, okay, let's look at this. And let's see what needs to be done. And, and vice versa. And that's the beauty of having trust in somebody and having that open, vulnerable conversations to help benefit lives in this world. And the more that we can do that, the more we can build this life and make the world a better place. And I constantly think that is something I know personally I want to pursue and to help other people to reach that same awareness of self and to get there.
I had to say this. Kim Varney just said, "You cried? Welcome to the club." Hey, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
So, it's hard when you get confronted with your own stuff. Sometimes to not be defensive. Laura, you have a great way of confronting me with my own stuff. Mm-hmm. And through this week plus, we have talked so much about so many things that you were harboring, I was harboring, not revealing. How many times do I say, I don't know, and you said, you do know. You do know. You do know.
You so mad.
Do know.
You know it. You're like,
I know
what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. And I was like, yeah, well then I shouldn't say it then. You should know.
I said, I'm gonna say this to you before you say anything. You don't say that. I said, boo, you do know. So we got to the point. So what is your big takeaway this time we spent together? How are you going to change or take action a little bit differently?
Well, I'm thankful that you kind of given me these different tools to even do the web thing that we showed you, and we'll take a picture and post it as well. But giving me those type of tools and just the confidence that you have within me, and not to say that I don't have it in myself, but it gives more of, like, I do believe that I am somebody special. God has told me that several times, but sometimes it's just that kick in the butt. Just like when you are revealed certain things, it's like,
oh yeah,
I mean, I know what I need to do with this, but it's sometimes other people seeing it within you that gives you that kick in the butt to be like, okay, well, I know it's not a hidden thing anymore either. So
exactly.
And I think that is the best tool. Just again, the mental state, which it starts with, the awareness, and then with that, right? It's creating a plan and goals and little goals at a time. I think that for me is important, because whenever I think of this big, ginormous goal, I then slowly back away because it's scary. Like if you were told, okay, we need to sell all the things in all your houses by, X date. That's like a long-term goal, right? So long-term goal is scary right now. So there might be a time where you'd be like, I don't even want to do this. So you're showing me way too many things. I was
caught in that trap because I was dependent on other people to do it for me when I had my stroke. And I woke up in the ether. I said, nothing's happened. So I took control of it myself. And in the last year, I have done so much, making progress day by day. And I have to feel good about that.
Yes, you do.
Rome wasn't built in the day. And I just have to step by step, 1% improvement every day, and get up and fight again and say no to myself.
Right.
That urge to go out and buy Home Depot.
Oh my gosh. And all the things in it, Why not?
So my takeaway is now that you know that I know, to do something about it, because you've given me a lot of great counsel, wisdom. You said it somewhat forcefully when I didn't pay attention. Listen to me. And I did know.
No.
And it's good to have that kind of friend. I would only say to you, Laura, you need to take that rut and turn it into a root. Rut into a root and grow your routine from that.
Right.
Rut into a root.
I like that analogy.
And grow your routine from that so you can harvest what you want to see grow in your life.
I agree. 100%.
That's my words of wisdom for today. So parting thoughts about tie this up in a pretty bow. I think it all starts with getting away. You told me to do that. Getting away, asking the question, what do you really want? Somewhere quiet with a journal. Your worst in pen is better than your best memory. Take some journal, take some pens, take some highlighters, and get away. So what would be your advice? How do we tie this into a bow? Because I want something I want to make people think, because I just want you to understand that if you go through this process, something's good is going to happen if you take massive action now. Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
It starts with sitting and reflecting on yourself. And like I told Paul, to like get away. And if your thing is a paper and pen, great. If yours is a recording thing, you just talk out loud and not really care what you're saying. Because when you hear it back, you'll probably hear some things, pretty profound. Or when I write, sometimes I don't even know what I'm writing, and I read back, I'm like, that's pretty deep right there. But it's honing in and asking yourself, and this is even right now, asking yourself, am I happy? Because I do believe that the root of it all, in simplicity, you find happiness. It's really surrounding yourself on what makes you happy. And that happiness is then becoming fulfilled within you. So that way you can better serve others, or whatever it is your heart is putting you to do, or God directs you to do. So I think the number one thing is, am I happy? And if there are parts of your life where you're very satisfied and you actually feel that sense of fulfillment, amazing. I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself. But if there are parts also that are screaming, I don't want to do this anymore, or I hate when this person, does this, then there are things that you need to change or work through, or to have that conversation, or whatever, to put into action a different plan. Because if it's not working, something needs to change. Yeah. And the change is hard. Oh yeah. I can speak for myself too. Awkward, I don't like change, but I know that it is the key to a better life.
Fold your arms. Fold it the other way. Feels like somebody else, you fold your arms this way forever. Fold your hands.
Oh, yeah.
And you try to change it, just doesn't feel right. So change is awkward. My mom said to me, if you need to greet people with love in your heart, ... And she said, if you don't love yourself, it's impossible to do in an authentic way. If you don't love yourself, it's impossible to do. If you don't want to greet people with love in your heart, and that was my mantra in dealing with people, greet them with love in my heart. I did. I was in the last 10 years before my stroke, I got caught up in this trap more, and I think my stroke. I don't blame God. I did, but I don't.
Right.
I just thankful that He saved me, and I have something to offer the world that is filled with hope, passion, inspiration, and I've been giving a platform to talk to people about the most important thing on life and just simplifying your life, living a good life, and self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And you can express love, but you have to self-love before you can do it.
Because we can fill our lives with a bunch of different things. For a long time, I was, in a sense, addicted to the likes on Instagram, on Facebook, and the need to have more and more and more in that regard too. And I had to basically stop giving myself that anxiety over, well, why didn't they like this post? What did I say that was wrong? Like, did it trigger some people in the wrong way? And then I get a message from one person that said, this changed their life.
Yes.
And it could be that one person. So whatever it is that you're doing, and if it's for the right reasons and you feel it in your heart, that's when you have to say, like, if they, let's just say, for example, if the world just started closing down, like at a big level, let's say Instagram, Facebook, all shut down. And let's say, the government took all of our homes, whatever it may be, would you still be able to find that happiness?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, I was studying or listening to a lot of things on the Holocaust and people who were in the concentration camps and going through it and just being brought down. And the fact that some of them were still able to be like, you know what, we're going through a lot. Actually, this guy named Irving, and I forget his last name, but I saw him through a live webinar and got his book and everything. His brother, even though he was really suffering, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it another day. And his brother said, just keep praying. So even though they were both starving and that there was no sign of hope, of faith, of anything, if you were stripped of everything that you have, everything that you built yourself for, would you still be happy? And that was a big reveal to me. So when I realized that, I was like, you know what? The likes don't matter. The likes don't matter. Whether somebody says that I'm important to them or not doesn't matter. These things don't matter. Exactly. They're nice. They don't matter.
That brings me to an interesting point. Hey guys, you know that I love you. You know I care about every comment you make on my site. And we are in this together. Jerry, Salud, Mark, Lynette, Brooke, all of us, we're in this together. So I want to say it publicly. I love you. I care about you. Sometimes I don't have the ability to answer that questions. Laura can say, I struggle with writing a lot, and I'm trying my best sometimes to answer